I've been playing the maximum difficulty mode on Where Winds Meet for about 20 hours now, but I want to highlight what is kind of the sad truth to the combat in Where Winds Meet, at least against bosses in solo mode. And it essentially revolves around parrying your target, deflecting your attacks manually, and that's mainly where your damage comes from. Pretty much nothing else really matters in comparison. See the amount of hit points I just reduced him there? That was mainly just from the parry attack. That's it. It's insane how much damage just comes from parrying. And many of these boss fights are impossible to beat without parrying. And so you end up just a lot of your entire kit not mattering. It doesn't matter what weapon you choose. It doesn't matter what gear you have. All you need to do is parry your target and you beat the boss. There's just nothing else to it, which just makes it a little bit sad. I could go through the entire grind of gear progression, and with these boss fights, that gear is never going to matter. You cannot power creep these bosses. You can see this puppeteer is now level 40, when you can originally face him, I believe, at level 15. But yeah, their level will always scale up to you. So the difficulty level will remain the same no matter what upgrades you obtained, at least for the most part. There are of course some benefits you're going to get, like being able to use some more potions or have some extra mystic skills. So I messed around with a whole bunch of weapons and just found none of them really were as good as just running the fan plus the dual blades. And the main reason for that, this is some thrilling gameplay right here, just healing up. This boss, for some reason, has an 80% reduction to the amount of heals you get. So yeah, just waiting around here for my heal drops to go up. But skipping on to finally the second phase of the fight, it just again boils down to mainly parrying, blocking those attacks, and that's really it. If you can successfully parry those attacks, press one button, or two buttons, the F key too, you beat these bosses, and that's it. It's all about just timing that parry, nothing else. And it makes it a little bit sad. But of course, one or two things like roll dodging out of golden attacks. But yes, the rest of your abilities, other than having some to keep you alive, like healing your mess ups when you take some damage like this, they just don't matter. The amount of damage you deal with them is negligible compared to the amount that you will do on a counterattack once you deplete the boss's chi. So you can see there's the red bar, and that's the actual hit points. And yes, you can damage the actual hit points by attacking, but it's so little numbers. And what you're actually trying to do is defeat the boss's chi. So whenever you get those parries, you're going to successfully deplete that chi. And then when it gets to 0, you're going to be able to get that big counterattack just like here. What you can do with the dual blades is get some extra hits in just before you use that F key ability here, and then deal that big chunk of damage. You can see 6,000, 2,000. This is the comboing damage you're looking at compared to just hits that are only 80, 90, 100. It's measly damage compared to what you gain through parrying, which just makes parrying the only thing that really matters in these fights, which again is a little bit sad for the combat in this game. It does seem pretty fun, the different abilities you can use, but a lot of them just end up pretty meaningless. And I don't really see this changing after the time I've played and all the bosses I looked at. Yes, you can get some upgrades, but I assume then they're only going to be relevant for other content, which we are still time gated on the storyline. I want to be getting to max level. I want to be jumping in raids and figuring out, what is this? Where's the gear grind? What is the ultimate endgame? Is it just beating these bosses more like a solo player experience, or is there more to it? So far, all the materials you've been able to get just by doing solo content here, and upgrades are not tied to the actual gear you use. All of this gear you're just going to find, and all you need to do on it is repair it, what you actually do for upgrades is right here. You're simply upgrading this here, and you have breakthrough points as well, which is good in a sense that it doesn't matter what weapon you drop, you will always have that level up bonus here. Same for gear. You upgrade your average level, you upgrade these slots essentially, and then it doesn't matter what gear you find and you put in those, you're not actually upgrading the gear itself, just kind of the slot that the gear goes into and then the bonus that you gain towards that. It's kind of a weird system, but yes, it feels a little bit sad right now that the only real thing that matters for these fights is parrying. Depleting your enemy's chi, the blue bar, by parrying those attacks. And once you do manage to parry it enough, getting that chi down to 0, that's when you can do a bit of a combo and the big damage to kill the boss. And then their chi is restored and you're back to just trying to parry as many attacks as possible to deplete that chi and waiting again for the next opportunity for when you manage to deplete it, like this here, and follow up with the final combo to kill the boss. And in most fights, I've just found it's been 2 rotations. Depleting that chi meter, doing a bit of a combo, and then doing that all over again. So the majority of the fight is just parrying the boss's attacks, which is definitely not the experience I expected, and it's not the experience I'm used to coming from MMORPGs like Neverwinter, Throne of Liberty, New World, where most of your damage comes from your abilities, your combos that you create, and not just parrying, not just counter-attacking. You can of course play at lower difficulties and this parrying doesn't matter that much, and if you are not so good at the timing on parrying, you can always enable the ability where you basically get a prompt to parry. I don't believe I have the option right here because I'm in legend mode. But that aside, the game world, the quests, the storyline, it's all really amazing from what I've experienced so far. I have since gone to this great big city. You're jumping around on the rooftops. You can be stealthy, sneaking around the guards, getting treasure chests, and still doing more of those little puzzles. I haven't had so much fun in a game in a long time like this. So it is definitely a great experience. And again, the game's entirely free to play. And it's crazy that that is the case for the amount of content that it offers, even just for the solo experience. But they still promise like dungeons and raids at Endgame that I have yet to experience. I just done some outposts with a group, that was about it. Unfortunate for you guys on Xbox, it's not available, but it is for PS. So overall, hopefully this was somewhat insightful. Thanks all for watching, and another special thank you to all my channel members. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.